Before we start this week's episode, we want to give a special shout out and thank you to our newest patron, Lycan of Light.
Yeah, I mean, every dollar helps, and I've tuned into his streams a couple times. He seems like he's got a really great community, and I'd like to just welcome him to ours.
It means a whole lot to us, and we hope that we continue to earn your patronage. But with that, let's get into the episode. Welcome, everyone, to the season finale to the Ghost category of the Here's Johnny podcast. My name is Larry.
And my name is Justin, and I actually I wanted to start the show this week by telling you, Larry, that I managed to get tickets to a Wiggles concert. Do you know what that is?
I have four younger sisters growing up, so I am very aware of who the Wiggles are. I'm surprised you're admitting that, though, to the world and all of our listeners, though.
They got two songs that I can stand, and then, you know what? It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be great. Their concert's at, I don't even know why I'm calling it a concert. But yeah, it starts at 6:30. It's going to be a great time. It's on a Monday night. It'd be fantastic.
Do they at least serve beer? Can you get a beer while you're going through all that?
I don't know. I mean, they do have, flat areas up front for children to dance, so I kind of did. They'll have beer there too.
Well, have you been up to anything else, Justin, besides the Wiggles?
Actually, I beat Tomb Raider today.
Oh, jealous. I'm currently playing it.
Yeah, it's well, maybe we'll get into it next week, but there's some things I'd like to talk about. But we can wait on that. Other than that, I've been actually also playing a game called Paratropic. It's about a man who gets caught trying to smuggle VHS tapes across the border. Yeah, and that's all I've played so far. But apparently it's only an hour and a half long, and it's terrifying, apparently. So looking forward to that. Other than that, I haven't really been up to much. What about you, Larry?
So I have also been playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but I'm having the same problem with this that I have with Fallout, is that whenever I get note of a side quest or a hunt for a valuable, I stop story progression and just go find it.
I had the same issue. At one point, I just kind of decided, you know what? I got to get this done. So,
see, I'm enjoying it, and I love the Tomb Raider game, especially since Square picked them up. I think what they did and how they actually made it a little bit more story oriented. I feel like it's a lot better, and I like the actress who plays Lara Croft in it. I think her voice acting is amazing. So I'm enjoying it, and again, I have no other games really to play right now, so it's been fun. I watched the entire season of American Horror Story Roanoke.
I didn't even know that was a thing. I mean, I know American Horror Story is a thing, but I didn't know,
Yeah, it's 2 seasons ago now. Right now it's Apocalypse, last season was Cult, and then the season before that was Roanoke. But yeah, I love American Horror Story. I do feel like, with the exception of season 1 and 2, that the endings kind of are a letdown, and I really felt that way with Roanoke. It was a lot more brutal than any of the other seasons I've watched. Very, very, very brutal. It's only 10 episodes long, and we're getting into obviously October, and it's on Netflix for free. So I would recommend it. It was pretty intense. And then I also picked up a couple of used horror games at a local game shop. I picked up Clive Barker's Jericho. I bought my very first ever Silent Hill game, Silent Hill Homecoming.
I'm sorry that's going to be your first one. Don't let it dampen the rest of the series for you.
Well, they had a copy of the original Silent Hill, but it was $55, and I can get it off of the PlayStation Network for $5 or $6. Until I never played it and don't know what to expect, I didn't want to drop that much on it and not knowing if I was even going to like it. The big thing I picked up and I completed my collection now is I got Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. So now I have a first edition non-classic version of every single Resident Evil game from 1 to 7.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I have all those. They look all pretty in my collection space, so I'm pretty happy with that. But with all that being said, let's do some plugs and get into the news. So, as we said, we are the Here's Johnny podcast, where we focus on horror media, particularly with films and video games. If you want to send an email to the show, you can send that to here's Johnny Podcast at gmail.com. On Twitter, you can find me at BeaverLA.
And you can find me at Pickle Thing. You can also find the show at Here's Johnny Cast. And as always, the Discord link will be in the show notes. Yeah, and if you go on Facebook, you can search the show up there as well. It's just Here's Johnny Podcast.
And then if you want to, in the show notes, there's the link to our website. And on there, you can find my weekly blog post. And starting next week, Justin's weekly blog post will be there too. In order to differentiate between the two authors, just look for who signed it at the bottom, but also know mine will release on Tuesdays and Justin's will release on Thursdays. If you want to, you can follow the show on Instagram where we post pictures of what we're playing, movies we're seeing, what we're reviewing that week, polls, everything's over on there too.
Yeah, and last week we actually opened up YouTube channel, Here's Johnny Podcast. You just search that on YouTube, and hopefully starting next week, I have a little something that I was telling Larry about off the show that I'm looking forward to releasing into the world.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. It sounds like you put a lot of work into it, even though we both weren't the biggest fan of what it is, but they'll see it. They'll see it next week. But with that, we're going to wrap up our introductory section and head on into Justin's Game Corner.
I am going to be bringing 4 pieces of news to the show. Would you like the good news or the bad news first, Larry?
Let's do bad news first. Let's get that out of the way.
So I'm assuming you know who Telltale Games is.
They're
best known for like The Walking Dead, yeah. Well, they announced today that they pretty much laid off everybody except for 25 people. They actually released a statement not that long ago saying that there's 25 people left, and I think they were low 300s at the end of last year. So they're keeping those 25 people on to finish the final season of The Walking Dead, and that apparently the other things they had planned are kind of in limbo right now. They might actually be closing the studio down completely.
What happened?
I guess they were just having a hard time. I mean, I'll be 100% honest, I wasn't a huge fan of Telltale.
I don't like those kind of games, but like my fiance, she liked playing The Walking Dead.
Yeah, like The Walking Dead was good. I enjoyed Batman, both seasons. The Borderlands game was also really well done. But other than that, like they had the Minecraft series that came out that, I don't know, wasn't great. The Game of Thrones one was apparently trash. Same with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like
there was a Guardians of the Galaxy one?
Though, I mean, it was horrible. They didn't have like any of the voice actors from the movies, which you'd expect they would at least try. But yeah, so I know at one point there was a Telltale game coming out like every 3 months, so I'm pretty sure it's kind of like the Guitar Hero games. They kept coming out and there was no break between them, so people just kind of got sick of them and stopped buying them. So depending on if you've ever played Dead Rising.
I have played the original Dead Rising. I think that's the only one.
Okay, yeah, it was for Xbox 360. Well, apparently Capcom Vancouver is also closing down, which apparently might have killed the franchise Dead Rising. This next bit of news could be good or it could be bad if you've played any of them. So the studio THQ Nordic has acquired the rights to Alone in the Dark. I don't know if you have played any Alone in the Darks.
I haven't, but I am aware of what they are.
Yeah, most of them are trash, but they kind of hold a special place in gaming history. Like they were kind of the first survival horror franchise.
Even before Resident Evil or Silent Hill?
Oh yeah, the first Alone in the Dark came out in like the late 80s. Like, I think it was like 87 or something like that. It was on PC. But yeah, apparently they own Alone in the Dark now, and knowing them, we'll probably see one in the next 2 or 3 years.
Well, okay then. We're looking forward to that.
Yeah. And the last bit of news today I have is we got a story trailer from Resident Evil 2 from TGS.
Yes, we did. TGS is the Tokyo Game Show, for those who don't know.
It's actually going on right now, and there's like tons of news coming out. So next week, I'm sure I'll have even more Resident Evil 2 news. Not only did it give us like our first actual look at Ada Wong like in action, but it also gave us our first look at William Birkin.
He looks awesome.
Yeah, like looking back, like earlier today, I looked at like the PS1 version of Resident Evil 2, and I was just looking at pictures of him, and he looks kind of ridiculous.
Well, yeah, they were limited on pixels and everything, so obviously they can only do so much, and it still terrified me the first time I played it as a kid.
100%. But I'm glad that they were able to make him look terrifying now, because I feel like something about it would have. It's one of the things I was worried about. Is this guy just gonna look big and goofy? I don't know.
Well, have you played Resident Evil 7?
Yes, and I didn't like the mold.
Okay, but forget the mold. Did you like how the mom and dad look?
Like in their second phases, I guess you could say.
Yeah, like Marjorie Baker when she turned into like a spider with that egg sac on her.
I liked Marjorie. I did not like Jack. Yeah, I did not like Jack in like in the dock area when he was like this monster. I don't know. It's just something about it. It just kind of lost it all for me.
Well, I guess I disagree because I loved it. I love Resident Evil 7 in general, but that was something I was never afraid about. My only fear is how they were going to change the gameplay for it.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, after seeing how creepy Birkin looks, I am excited to see what the lickers don't look like when it pops out the first time.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
Because they have not shown anything of lickers.
Well, even the dogs look awesome. Like, it looks fantastic. Like, it looks terrifying, and it looks like we were talking about a couple weeks ago, like, it looks realistic. Like, that's what would happen.
Which is what they're going for. I think they're nailing it.
There is a couple things that this brings. Well, just really one thing I'm interested in is I'm wondering if they're going to bring Mr. X into it, or if he's just not going to be there.
It'd be cool, but I doubt it.
But yeah, so that's all I have today. And with that, let's head on into Larry's movie notes.
All right, I only have 3 things this week, so I'll keep it pretty brief. The first thing is that the Venom movie, which I am still excited for, but it got a PG-13 rating.
Yeah.
It means it's probably going to drop. I had a high hopes that maybe it'd be like the first kind of horror superhero movie we've seen in this generation. It still might be that, but the PG-13 rating for me kind of makes me less excited about it. So we'll see.
They have that X-Men horror movie. I don't know if that's still coming out or not.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I think the X-Men movies are either very, very good or they're trash. And this one, New Mutants, I don't think is popular enough to really garner a lot of attention, but we'll see. But yeah, Venom is only PG-13. It stars Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock, aka Venom, but we'll see. I'm excited still. I like Venom, so I'll still be seeing it.
Do you think Carnage will be in it?
No. They might tease him, but I don't think so. I love Carnage, though.
Yeah, me too.
The next story I have is that Netflix debuted the Haunting of Hill House trailer, which will come out on October 12th. That is a horror television show that is based off of the 1959 novel by Shirley Jackson. There were 2 film adaptations. Both the adaptations were called The Haunting, but the one from 1963, which was directed by Robert Weiss, is actually on our master list. The book's really good. It's considered to be the first haunted house novel. It is a very good book. And the trailer is terrifying.
I haven't seen it, but I will definitely make sure to look it up after this.
Yeah, the trailer is very, very good. And I would also recommend the book if you get a chance. It's not that long, but it's pretty spooky. Last thing I have, Aubrey Plaza from Parks and Rec fame is going to be the lead in the Child's Play reboot.
That's exciting, I think. I'm kind of on the fence about Aubrey Plaza lately.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. She's good in some stuff, and then I don't know. I mean, it could just be like the choice of films that she decides to do.
Like kind of the raunchy comedy she's been in recently.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that kind of stuff.
No, me either. I do like her from Parks and Rec. I also agree with you about the raunchy stuff. That's never been my cup of tea. However, I don't know how she's going to be as a Scream Queen actress, so I'm a little bit hesitant about, I don't like remakes in general, and I think the original Child's Play is good for what it was.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think it's going to end up being goofy. I bet it ends up being super goofy and stupid, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Well, like my thing is that I think we really need to be concerned about who they pick to be that child.
Yeah.
Like,
if they pick Jason Tremblay, the guy the kid who was the star in the new Predator movie, I think that'd be just fine. He's a very good actor.
I haven't seen it, so.
Just watch the original Predator. It's better.
Oh, really? Eh? Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Leagues better.
We won't get into it now, but okay.
But that's one we will review. Once we finally get to that is one that will be reviewed, hopefully sooner rather than later. But with all that wraps up the news section. So we're going to head into our main topic for this week, which is the fan voted upon GingerDead Man review and a season wrap up.
Here, Kitty. Here, Kitty. Get Kitty.
So here it is. You voted on it, and we watched it.
Oh God, yeah.
Don't want to bury the lead, but not going to be better than The Conjuring.
I don't know, Larry. I don't know.
I do have a little bit of production notes on this film. We'll get into our 60-second plot summary, and then we'll review it. So, Justin, this film is not rated. There's no rating for it, and it is self-styled as a horror comedy. It is directed by Charles Band, who is also known for directing the classics such as Evil Bong, Dr. Mordred, and Parasite.
I couldn't hear the quotations in your voice when you said classics, by the way.
It was written by William Butler, who has, to his credit, written every single GingerDead Man movie. It stars Gary Busey, who obviously has fallen from grace from the times when he starred in Lethal Weapon, Point Break, and Predator 2. And it also stars Robin Sidney, who is also the star of the Evil Bong series and had a recurring role on the Drake and Josh TV show. The tagline for this film was "Evil never tasted so good." Well, the official tagline was "Evil never tasted so good." It has inspired 2 sequels. The first, The Passion of the Crust, and the third, Saturday Night Cleaver, which is a time-traveling epic. The GingerDead Man goes back in time to the 70s.
Oh my God.
So yes, it has a spin-off, because I said the director and the writer worked on another series.
Yeah.
Where it's the GingerDead Man versus the Evil Bong.
Come on.
Yeah, and surprisingly to find out, there is a comic book series on this called The GingerDead Man Baking Bad. So yeah, there's a little bit of background on this. I wasn't able to find any budgeting stuff, and obviously it didn't go to theaters, so I couldn't find any box office numbers. I'm going to guess it did really bad. But with all that being said, Justin, since it's a movie, I have the wonderful honor of going first to summarize this plot.
Are you really going to need 30 seconds?
60, you mean? Probably not. Probably. You know what? For this one, we're going to do a 30-second plot summary.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Our audience does not need a full 2 minutes of this in their ears.
Yeah, you're right.
Because I didn't need the full hour and 20 minutes of watching it. Are you ready?
Yeah, okay. Give me a countdown, okay? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1, go.
Gary Busey stars as Millard Fiddlemeyer, who is a serial killer who kills an old man and his son for really no reason. And then he shoots the old man's daughter. Then his wife brings the ashes to the bakery. They bake the the ashes into a gingerbread cookie mix. GingerDead Man comes alive, starts killing people. They're trapped in the bakery, even though they're not really trapped. They eat the GingerDead cookie, which possesses a person, and then they kill that person. And it's over.
Time. That's 30 seconds.
I stumbled a little bit out the gate, but yeah,
no,
30
okay.
seconds is not a lot of time.
Yeah. I mean,
are you ready?
Yeah. I mean, you already finished it. Do I really have to do this?
You know what? I will allow you to not do it, but I think you should.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. Okay. Yeah. Give me a countdown.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so yeah, as Larry said, this film stars Gary Busey. He robs a bakery or diner, kills a bunch of people. Anyways, his mother gives the ashes to the bakery, not his wife. And they make it into the gingerbread. Somehow this gingerbread man comes to life, kills a bunch of people. Then the wrestler guy, who I really want this movie to be about instead of who it actually is about, eats the gingerbread man, comes back, turns into a demon, and then gets pushed into the oven and baked into that.
Time.
I don't know.
That's pretty close. Did I say wife? I meant to say mother.
Yeah, that's whatever.
Yeah, it was his mom. He has a mom complex.
You know what, though? If they talked about it more than once, I'm sure one of them accidentally said wife, and they just kept that take.
That's very true. All right, so plot. I have one pro.
Oh my God, you have a... Okay, yeah. Actually, I do have a pro as well.
I have one pro. I will admit I was slightly curious to learn a little bit more about Millard Fiddlemeyer's background, in particular with his mother. It seems like they were close
Yeah.
enough
Yeah.
for her to bring his ashes into the bakery labeled as GingerDead Mix. My cons are many, but
I do have a favor to ask. Maybe this week, would you be okay if I did my pro as well? And then we can just get into it.
yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay, yeah. So my pro is I liked the character that was the wrestler. I don't remember his name. I don't remember like any of the characters' names.
Oh, I couldn't tell you either. I watched this movie twice. I couldn't tell
You
you.
watched it twice?
I always try to watch the movies twice before we review them.
Oh my
I've done
god.
that for every single one we've done so far, and I've just tried to maintain.
I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry.
It was it was bad. Like I don't even know like if I was like on drugs if this would have been enjoyable. I don't even think that would have done it. But yes, the wrestling character outside of the initial Gary Busey introduction, interesting. Terrible actor, but interesting.
Oh yeah, he was horrible, but I mean the most interesting out of the group until the end. But well, that's just
You ready to dive into this? The first thing I have, let's go back and forth. The first con I have is that the whole damn thing makes no sense. Uh, from the creation, like we're never told if it's like cursed or there's no spell. All that happens is they mix the ashes from a box. Like it's not even a plastic bag. They open a cardboard box that was left with their back porch. They mix it into their gingerbread cookie mix. The wrestler guy cuts his arm, bleeds into the mix, and then they cook the damn stuff. And then she only makes one cookie out of this giant mix. Like out of this giant batter, she only makes one cookie and throws the rest of the dough away. The plot development is ridiculously stupid. For some reason, they never leave. They don't leave the bakery, and there's nothing keeping them in the bakery.
oh, they try to leave the bakery, but because one person is dead
Oh,
outside the bakery, they refuse to leave the bakery because the ginger dead man will get them outside.
it is so bad. All the characters, like, put aside the acting, I'll get to that when we get to the audio. The characters suck. None of them have any redeeming qualities. The mom's a lush. The one of the workers there is a whore. The one girl has no like the main girl, the Robbins character, has like nothing going for her. Like you said, the only kind of interesting one is the wrestler, but he's stupid. There's the spoiled rich brat. It's so bad. It is so bad. Oh my gosh.
Not to mention that the girl's father is the same age as her.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
And the last big, like I said, I can go on forever. The last big comment I have is Sarah, who is the main character. Like she's sitting there staring at a picture of her brother,
yeah.
like lamenting that it's been a year since he died or whatever. And she's talking about how all she wanted to do was take him to, and this is in quotations, this isn't me using this word, this is the quote from the movie, that all she wanted to do was take him to a titty bar for his 21st birthday. And she brings this up like 4 or 5 times about how she wanted to take him to one.
And that she hopes that there's strippers and beer in heaven or wherever he is.
That she hopes that there's strippers and beer in heaven. That is
Again,
mind-boggling.
that is a direct quote from this movie.
William Butler, the writer for this film, literally must have got his training at Oxford because he is just astounding. Just top tier level writing.
Okay, so when he cuts himself, they don't hold it. They like go right over the dough and hold his arm there.
Oh
Like,
yeah, she grabs his arm and pulls it over top of the batter, and they see it fall in the batter.
oh yeah, and not only that, like I may have made some cookies since watching this movie. After you cut your dough, you don't just throw the rest in the trash. Like,
No, you don't, and you don't make your cookie in the middle of the batter. You try to portion it out around the batter so you get the maximum amount of cookies out of the first press,
yeah,
and then go back in. You don't just stick it right in the middle.
yeah, like I know why their bakery is failing.
Yeah. Also, for how small that bakery looks from the outside, it is massive on the inside. Like I have no idea how that was so big.
I mean, clearly they use like exterior, like an actual vacant building for the outside. But I mean, you can tell the inside of that was a soundstage.
Oh yeah, it was terrible. It really is bad. It really is a piece of trash.
So the girl's dad gets crushed up against. Okay, somehow the ginger dead man can drive a car.
With it, yeah, he has the what's it called?
Is it like the rolling pin?
He has a big old wooden spoon or whatever he's using to drive the car.
Yeah, that's it. And he crushes the dad up against the side of the building. So the
Mm-hmm.
dad is there. The car is still on. I'm assuming because the lights are
Yep.
on, and the other guy, the boyfriend's car, is there. And in the background, you constantly see cars driving back and forth. I mean, you think somebody would stop or
Yep.
something?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways,
It's
yeah.
bad. It really is bad. Okay, let's get some scores out there. So, rule for the podcast: the lowest score you can give is a 1.
Oh, one, definitely a one. Like,
Okay. I gave it a 2.
okay.
I gave it 1 point because despite my better interest for myself as a person, I was more curious about Gary Busey and his mom's relationship. There it is. I apologize to everybody involved, but I was interested.
Oh, you're saying sorry for being interested.
And it gave it 1 point. All right, next is cinematography. I have no pros, so if you got one, Justin, you can go ahead and give it.
I don't. I like the mom is outside shooting a sign with a shotgun, but like has
Yeah.
like pinpoint accuracy to hit this.
Yeah, she's using a shotgun to shoot a cloth sign. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah.
Who's
Alright,
drunk
it's-
off her butt? Yeah, you're right. So the first very large negative thing I have for it, this film came out in 2005. Justin, I want you to compare that to the film that won Best Picture for the Academy Awards that year, which was Million Dollar Baby. So even with just the quality of the filmmaking, I don't expect all films to be Academy Award winning caliber,
Yeah.
but I do expect them to not look like they were shot on your mom and dad's Steadicam. Yeah, this looks like trash. There are literally cutaways out at the wazoo. So I'm not sure if our audience is aware of this, but usually a cutaway means that they can't do the take in one. So when you have a bunch of cutaways to different angles and different characters and different looks, it means that they took multiple takes to get that scene done. And there are some very basic scenes where it's just cutaway to cutaway to cutaway to cutaway.
Yeah. I also don't know if you noticed that the first time you see. I'm sorry. I'm having a hell of a time trying to remember any of these characters' names, but
The main girl's name is Sarah, and
Okay.
Gary Busey is Millard.
Yeah, well, I just call it Gary Busey, because
Yeah, that's fine.
But Sarah, the first time we see her in the bakery after the opening scene, the cameraman actually bumps, like he runs into the shelving that he's hiding behind, I guess, and you see everything shake on it. Like, I mean, come on, like you really couldn't just try that again?
Yeah, I noticed that. I also noticed that there were a couple scenes where, for some reason, the cameraman didn't have proper focus.
Yeah,
And it's blurry. And it's not because I checked. Like I said, I watched this twice. Like, it wasn't because my frame rate dropped. It was blurry because they didn't have the camera in focus. Which means that someone went through editing and post-production and watched this film, saw how blurry it was, and said, good enough.
like if this is how good your film is, like your first one is, I kind of want to watch the second one just to see how bad it is. Like, it can't get worse than this.
Go for it, because I'm not joining you. And then the last thing that I have is, I put it here because I didn't know where else to put it. The GingerDead Man, the puppet animatronic, whatever it was,
Yeah, he looks horrible.
terrible. It looks so bad.
Well, I mean, even like the makeup on the wrestler guy after he eats him and becomes Gary Busey looks better. Like, I was actually kind of surprised that looked somewhat decent.
Yeah, that was honestly, as far as makeup and blood and all that fun stuff went, that was the best part.
I don't know. Okay, if I went into a bakery and their gingerbread men looked like that, I know it's like got some like weird voodoo magic or whatever in it, but I mean, the face would have just been the face. Like, she made the face look like that. If I went into a bakery and a gingerbread man looked like that, like, how the hell are they still open? Like, it looks like garbage.
Yeah. No, it looks terrible. It looks so bad. So yeah, Justin, we don't need to. Let's just go on. I gave it a 1.
Oh,
You
1. Yep, 1.
solid. It's doing real well, guys. It's doing real well. Thanks for voting for this one. We had 13 Ghosts and Darkness Falls, but you voted for this trash. All right, audio. I have one pro.
Okay.
I think this is because I like him, but Gary Busey, for the very brief time he was actually on the camera and not voicing the GingerDead Man, he plays an excellent crazy person.
That's because Gary Busey is crazy.
He played an excellent crazy person, and I won't lie. When it first started, I was intrigued about his background. I liked Gary Busey because even though he's nuts, he can at least act. And then you never see him again after the first 4 minutes.
I mean, they couldn't afford to keep paying him.
It's probably very true. But with that, that's all my pros. Do you have any pros before we start tearing this apart too?
Okay, so I'm not 100% sure where I should put this, but we actually watched 2 different versions.
Oh, really? I watched the one on Amazon Prime. I got a free 1 week subscription to this channel called Full Moon, and it had all these really crappy horror movies on it. But I didn't pay anything for it that way. Thank God. If I had to pay for this, I would have killed somebody. I would have absolutely lost my freaking mind.
I watched the version that's on I don't know if you guys have it in the States, but I have Amazon Prime. I know Amazon Prime is a worldwide thing, but we have Prime Video.
That's what I used to.
But the version of this movie that I had was the Elvira version. Where so she was doing every once in a while she would pop in with some quip or something, so that my only pro is that every once in a while somebody would actually come on and say something funny in this movie.
Well, okay then. I'll give you. I will give you that. Ready to start tearing into the audio?
Oh yeah, well, yeah. Let's do it.
This acting might be worse than porn acting.
Okay, so I wanted to bring something up to you again. Not sure where to put it in this movie, but did everybody just seem too close all the time?
Yeah, they were all too. Well, I think it's because they didn't have enough boom mics to pick everybody up, so they had to be standing right on top of each other. The acting was terrible. Inflections where it didn't need to go. Making statements sound like questions and questions sound like statements. Accents that didn't make any sense for where they were. You could barely hear what the GingerDead Man was saying half the time. The sound effects too were just terrible. Go back and listen to the scene where the girl takes a knife to the face after tripping. That was just dumb. She tripped the wire and somehow she got a dagger thrown into her forehead. Absolutely ridiculousness. That's so dumb. There is no memorable music from this movie. I couldn't tell you. And there also isn't really any ambiance. You talk about how in The Conjuring, some of the scares from the audio came from just the sounds being there in the background. There's none of that here. It's trash. It's trash. It is garbage. It is hot garbage. The fact that this has spin-offs and tie-ins and people continue to watch this, obviously enough people are watching this to justify two sequels and a spin-off. I don't get it. Couldn't tell you.
That is why I kind of want to go watch the second one, because clearly something one of these movies has to be at least not as bad as this one, right? There's a reason why. Right?
Go for it, Justin. Go for it.
I'm torn. I'm on a fence here.
Have fun. I will not partake with you.
I don't have anything to say about audio though. It's just like you said. It's just
trash.
It's garbage. Trash.
Okay, I gave it a 2. I gave 1 point for Gary Busey. How about you?
I gave it a 2. I gave 1 point for Elvira.
Well, there you go. All right, the last one. How scary. This could be really easy to do, but we'll spend at least a little bit of time on it.
Okay.
I didn't care about a single character enough to care if they lived.
No, I really didn't. I was confused on how the GingerDead Man expected the girl covered in cake to die.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yep.
Also, I don't get how the tripwire to the knife in the forehead worked. I don't get how that trap was set up. Because she tripped it pulled down a box to her left, and somehow she took a dagger to the forehead in front of her. It made no sense. It was dumb. It was really dumb.
It's not like the wire was thin. I don't know if it just flashed too quickly, but it looked to me like it was a thick
Oh, it was obvious. Oh, it was a thick wire. It was like a 3-inch rope kind of one.
Yeah, I just
Also, we said earlier, the GingerDead Man isn't scary. This is just a bad movie. This is a bad movie. It's not funny. It's not scary. It's trash. It is trash. And thank you to every single person who voted for this stupid thing.
it's not even one of the bad movies that you can laugh at. Like it's just
No.
it was a waste of time. Like
Yes. Yes. You're absolutely right.
like
We had other movies that would have actually that wouldn't have done as poorly as this. Like even 13 Ghosts with its ridiculousness would have done better than this.
yeah.
Oh Lord have mercy. But yeah, there you go. Yeah. Anything else, Justin, for how scary? Besides that it's not.
Are we done? Come on. Like
Well, we could get into the recommended and stuff, but it does not deserve. It does not deserve any more of my time. I watched it twice. I watched this thing twice.
yeah, I don't like I was worried I was gonna have to watch it again. And the thought of that gave me a headache. So
Oh, I can totally believe it.
oh my god, this
All right, Justin, I gave it a 1. How about you?
yeah, I gave it a 1.
All right, so let's wrap up the scores. For plot, I gave it a 2. Justin gave it a 1. Cinematography, it both took a 1 from each of us. For audio, it each got a 2, and for how scary, each got a 1. I gave it a 15% overall. Justin gave it a 12.5% overall. So averaging those together is a 14% solid F. By far the worst movie we have reviewed yet on this podcast.
By far. And you know what? Hopefully, I mean, but we have all these emails of people that have watched the movie, right?
Oh yeah, these fans that voted for. We'll get that in the next section. But oh yeah, we'll discuss that in great depth. Justin, would you recommend this to scare a friend?
I mean, if they were really tight on time, mostly because the thought of me having to watch this again scares me. I am scared that I would have to watch this movie again. But no.
If someone really ticked me off and I wanted to torture them, I think I'd sit them down in front of it and put it on a loop.
I don't think I honestly could recommend this movie to anybody.
Yeah, it's trash. It is hot garbage. It is not good. I hope all who voted for this are happy. I hope this did what you wanted it to do. I hope that it's a good fitting review for the end of this season. But yeah, Justin, if you're okay with it, let's wrap up the GingerDead Man review and actually take a retrospective of our first season, because this is our last episode of season 1.
Yeah, for sure.
So the first thing that we talk about are the 2 games we reviewed, which is Clock Tower 3 from 2002 and Detention from 2017. Looking back on the games, are you happy with the ones we chose? Would you have picked other ones? And where do you maybe see the next time we come to Ghosts, the games being?
So I think it's important that we started where we started. Detention was awesome. I don't regret that at all.
No, me either.
But Clock Tower 3, I'm on the fence about, but I think it's important that we started there.
Yeah, I would actually agree with you. Again, the games are in your area. I don't play a lot of... I'm not really a known person to play a lot of games outside of what I know.
Yeah.
So I was happy to have played this. But for Clock Tower 3, like maybe we should have done something a little more popular, like Fatal Frame or like Echo Knight. Like maybe we should have just spent a little more time and found those ones, because they would have been a little bit better, I think.
I agree 100%, and that's actually what I'm kind of hoping for next time. Is I wanted to get like just kind of some like easies out of the way for this first season, right? Like I don't know a better way to say that really, but next time we get, I mean even next season. And next time we get around to Ghosts.
Well, yeah, we didn't expect the kind of following success to start like with this season. So for the games, we just really tried to find games that were easily obtainable. And when I was able to go to a game store and find Clock Tower 3 off the big list you sent me, that's kind of how we decided which one to do. And again, if it didn't come to Lord Burroughs, it really wouldn't have been that bad of a game. The final fight was ridiculous, but outside of that, it really wasn't that terrible.
No, it is a good game. Like you said, minus Lord Burroughs, but I'm excited for next time we get to Ghosts, because I think we'll have some real scary games. Like
yeah, I agree, and we have a long way to get. We have to go through all the other categories first before we get back to it. But I do agree with you. I do think that when we do come back to it, that we're going to have some success, and I am excited for that.
Yeah.
So those are the games we played. Moving on to the movies, we first reviewed The Shining from 1980, which is where we got the namesake for our show. Then we reviewed The Conjuring, and then finally, this on this episode, you got to listen to us review The GingerDead Man, which was, like we said, there's gonna be a crappy ghost movie, and it was crappy. But no, being The GingerDead Man, we planned it to be a crappy movie review. And that's exactly what we got. So maybe we should have been a little bit more specific, like crappy but like doable.
Yeah,
However,
something I would be okay with watching.
yeah. But however, I really think The Shining and The Conjuring were two great films to kind of set the tone for where we're going from here.
I agree 100%. Like, I think it was very important this season to kind of set up where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
And again, have from now on, whenever we watch movies or play games, like, I'm going to constantly be looking back at, like, I know what these games are going up against.
I think, like we discussed, and it was kind of something I called you out for a little bit when we did The Shining, is you gave cinematography and audio a little bit lower scores than I did. I gave them 10 for both, and you gave a cinematography an 8 and audio a 7.
Yeah.
And one of the things you said for cinematography is I don't know what better is, but I'll know it when I see it. So I'm hoping now, like because you truly did see probably two of the best that the genre has to offer with The Conjuring and The Shining.
Yeah.
So my big hope is that now that you have seen what the best truly is, that when we watch these other movies that are kind of falling somewhere in the middle, we'll have a little better success.
Yeah. I mean, bringing it back to games for a second, I'm excited for you to see what the best is.
Me too. Like I said, all my interaction with horror it's just been Resident Evil. To be, I mean, we've discussed this before, but for me, when it came to horror video games, it pretty much is just Resident Evil. So anything new is going to be fun for me.
I see. It's hard without like saying, because we know what's coming, obviously, like you and I, but I'm excited for what we're getting to next. I think it'll be a really good showing of the horror genre.
Yes, I absolutely 110% agree. And then not only did we both review those three movies, but in my blog post, I actually reviewed the same weekend that they came out, both The Nun and The Predator. That is something I'm going to continue to do because I know that I have a little more free time than Justin. So whenever a horror movie that I'm interested to go see, or even any movie, I guess, too, because we're getting close to Oscar season, and I love going to see the Oscar-nominated films. Like, I'll write a review of them, post it on there. So our biggest thing is to try to provide as much content as we possibly can. So, yeah, I'm excited to see where we kind of take it. The next thing I want to talk about is the other stuff we did this season. Obviously, our first show was like a breakdown and a kind of introduction to us, which I thought was really important, and I thought it went over well. One episode, Justin, that I really liked, I don't know how to do it in the future with other seasons, but I actually really enjoyed our ghost story episode.
Okay, see, funny story is I did too. It might not seem like it while we were doing it, that I was like, I understand that it probably didn't sound like I was having a great time, but that's like, I was not in a great spot. Like that's one of my things is I'm very, very like introverted. I do not like putting myself out there. And that's something that like, that whole episode was just, okay, put yourself out there.
Well, I think you did a great job. I mean, it was even like, I know you were kind of hard on yourself, but you even got like the voting on Twitter was pretty close between you and I,
which was surprising.
No, I don't think it was surprising. I think you're a little bit too hard on yourself, and I thought it was a very good episode. Honestly, that was the episode where I really felt we started to hit a stride, and I was really, really like excited to see where we went from there.
That's where I think that is the episode that we kind of were given. It's weird to say given because we're really the only ones that do the show, but where we were given like creative control to kind of, make up your story about this ghost story.
I agree 100%.
I also don't really know how we could do that with other seasons, but if you have any, like if any of you guys have suggestions, like let us know, because I did have a lot of fun doing that episode.
Yeah, I did as well. I really thought that was fun. I really thought that is something I want to do more in the future, and I'm excited to do it. Like I'll have to think of a way to do it like appropriately, because that's like I said, that's what we're talking about now. Is like that's the one thing that I'm kind of on the fence about, is I want to make sure it fits right, but we'll see.
I mean, I think it'll work more with some than it will with others. Like I think we'll have to go some seasons without doing something like that just because of the material.
No, I agree 100%. But I don't know. I do think that's one of my favorite episodes from this season. We then also had our first guest episode when you had to step out for the birth of your child, and that was a lot of new stuff for me, figuring out how to edit and how to record and do all that fun stuff. But I think for how stress is the wrong word, for how wary I was going into that, like not knowing what to expect or how it was going to go, I think it turned out well. I think our audience actually liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be 100% honest with you, Larry. Like, I've only ever edited something one time before we did our first episode. So, I mean, what you went through, I know exactly what you mean because I went through it like 4 weeks before that. It's hard to do. Like, editing this, it's not. Well, I shouldn't even say hard. It's very time consuming.
That you're absolutely right. That is what it is. It is time consuming, but it was fun. I think it took me like 4.5 hours from when I started editing to when I finished editing. I was up super late that night, but when I was done, it was so worth it. It was it felt so great. Like I was so happy with how it turned out.
Because usually, for kind of I guess behind the scenes, like we record and then I edit and then I send it to you. We each get to listen to the final product and get a say in what goes out there. Finishing it and sending it off to you, like it's a good feeling. Like it's like, yeah, you know what, we did that. It's the feeling of accomplishing it, especially with being off work right now. I feel like a hobo all the time. So it feels good to get something done.
I truly do think that this was a lot of success for us. I'm excited to do more of it, and yeah, it was fun. Then the last kind of different episode that we did this season was the James Wan deep dive, which I think may be my favorite.
I would actually have to say I think The Conjuring was probably my favorite episode. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna have to take that back. I think this might be my favorite episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I not because of the content. But the discussions, like especially even right now, like I think it's kind of weird to think about it. Like, so when you start editing something, you get this weird part of like when you're recording, you're also thinking in your head like, oh, is this going to sound good while I edit it? Like, and I think that the discussions we've been having today have been fantastic. I think this is going to be my favorite one.
I guess we'll see from our audience if they agree or not. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of what we did. And then I wanted to also take a brief moment, Justin, with you and kind of discuss where we see the show going, particularly next season and then beyond. So next season, in our next episode, we're going to give some teasers of what to expect. I'm not going to give you too much, but I will tell you to expect a fair few more movie reviews than this season.
Yes, I think it's also fair to say that next season will be longer than this season.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. You can also expect to hear us on other podcasts. We've been in contact with a couple other people, and you can also expect some of them to join us on a few episodes.
That's something I am looking forward to. We've been in the talks, I guess you could say, for a little bit. We wanted to make sure the fit was right.
Yeah, I think so as well. We're also going to have our first horror comedy film review next season. We've had several people in the Discord, and then we had an email or two about it as well, wondering how we were going to incorporate it. And we thought maybe doing like a whole season on it, but I think taking a horror comedy from the genre and throwing it in there actually works really well. And we will have our first horror comedy review next season. I don't count GingerDead Man.
I mean, I didn't laugh, so.
Yeah, I'm not counting that.
What a garbage movie.
Also, next season we'll incorporate a couple of holidays.
Oh, yes.
And I'm not going to tell you too much, but I want our listeners to know that we are very giving hosts. And on some of the major holidays, it might benefit you to to check your RSS feed.
The American holidays, that is.
Yeah, sorry, the American holidays. We don't do the Canada stuff. The only holidays that count, the good old US of A holidays. Next, we also want to talk about how we're going to be expanding, may not be the right word, but just branching out into other medium. Obviously, the podcast is the focus, but Justin is going to start having his own blog post.
Yes.
So you'll have 2 blog posts a week along with the weekly episode. We're going to start going and streaming once a week on Twitch on the Here's Johnny podcast Twitch feed.
And I believe for the first little bit, it is just going to be me until
I move. To be quite honest, until I
that's okay.
Get my move in line until January. It's probably going to be just Justin, but I do have hopes that when Resident Evil 2, my goal for myself is when Resident Evil 2 remake comes out, is that I stream that thing from the moment I start playing it until I beat it. Like a one sitting session playthrough.
Oh, you think you're gonna beat it in one session? Man, I forget what it's like to not have kids.
I'm going to do it. It's in my head because I want to do it because I have to. I can't buy Kingdom Hearts 3 until I beat remake. Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out. I have a 5-day window.
Oh my god, that's why you want to beat it so fast. Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, please look forward to that. And obviously, like we Justin said, on YouTube, you can follow the show on YouTube. Right now, all that's up there is our episodes. So it's easier for you at work to throw it in the background and listen to it that way. But we are working on other content. We'll throw up the Twitch streams on there. We're going to work on doing clips of us like watching scary movies and like throwing the scared clips up on there. Justin's doing some other side stuff, so keep an eye out for that next week. I'm actually pretty excited to see how that goes for him.
Again, I'm kind of getting out of my comfort zone to do some of that stuff, but I figured, I'm off work until November. I would love to at least try to get some of this stuff, and that way if it works out good, it's something that I might be able to do. Obviously, it might not be every week, but every time that something fits in with what it is.
When it's appropriate.
Yeah, when it's appropriate, I might be able to do it. So I'm actually really excited.
All right, and we have 2 last things we want to kind of talk about before we get into the emails and reviews. The first one is that starting in 2 weeks, so not next week's episode, but the week after that, we are going to be entering into a partnership with the Tapestry Radio Network.
Yeah, I'm excited to join them. I think it'll be really good for the show. And
yeah, to give our listeners a little bit of a background, they reached out to us through our email, and basically they like what we're doing and what their podcasts are. They have a few different podcasts. One is called Intermission. The other is Michael and Ethan in a Room of Scotch, where they review books. One is Pokemon Rollout, which is a tabletop RPG, so D&D with Pokemon, essentially. And then one called Roll to Amble, which is another D&D podcast. But yeah, they offered to join us, and we still get to do all our own content, but basically it's just a way to support intellectual, like especially when it comes to Michael and Ethan Room of Scotch. They take nice little deep dives on classic novels, and they listen to how we're approaching horror, which is a much different way than if you go on YouTube or other podcasts. Like, we're approaching it more professionally, I guess is the way to say it. And they're interested. So yeah, we're excited to try something new with them. And I think it's gonna work out well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also important that they were very clear that they are also not, like, they're not into doing their show to make money. They're in it because they enjoy what they're doing. And I think that's really important. Yeah. That is what drives you to do the show, is, have fun, do it because you like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hobby. Like, this is my golfing, this is my whatever. Like, this is just something I really enjoy doing, and I think it's fun, and it's a really good exercise for me mentally. I think obviously I'm playing video games and watching movies, but to discuss them in this manner, I think is really important.
Yeah.
But Justin, the last thing in this section before we get into emails and reviews, give me a drum roll. Next season will be Deranged Man.
which I am looking so forward to.
I'm sure if you know what movie is coming out next month, you can understand why.
Wink, wink.
But next episode, we are going to have a little teaser for our listeners. So we aren't going to straight up tell you what we're doing right away. We're going to give you a chance to guess about what's to come. So please look forward to listening to that next week. But Justin, if you're good,
Yeah.
I'm good. Let's head on into emails and reviews.
You know what? I'm a lot better now that I don't have to watch this movie.
It is done. The deed is done. So Justin, our audience, who voted for this movie, GingerDead Man,
Our lovely, lovely audience.
decided it was worthy, or decided that they weren't going to review this movie.
What? Are you kidding
They
me?
weren't going to send in any emails. They weren't going to review the podcast. So, as a gift, because they gave us one, I want to give them one as well. We are going to play, instead of reading the emails and reviews that don't exist, a nice little clip of a Wiggles song.
Oh, my choice?
So I hope you can pick whatever one you want, Justin.
Sounds good to
Just
me.
throw it in here for 30 seconds. We're going to wrap this section up and head on into the closing.
When you hear the swinging beat, the swinging song bad, you know it's time to get in line and do the skeleton scat. Emma, can you play the drums? Let's hear that swinging beat.
I'll play the drums with my hands and dance with my feet.
Simon, can you use your
All right,
voice to
Justin,
make
not
that
only are we
long
closing up this episode, we're closing up season 1. Any last minute things you want to say before we wrap it all up?
I'm really excited for next season. Like, seeing what we have lined up for next season is going to be fantastic. And I think it's also giving a lot more opportunities for the listeners to get involved as well.
I am very excited. But next week is not the start of season 2. Next week is actually a special episode for our patron Seagram. He is at the tier where he gets to pick a film, and since he was our very first patron, we decided to also let him join us for the review. So next week, we are going to be reviewing the film called The Boy. It's on Netflix, and he'll be joining us for that episode.
Yeah, and on the plus side, it has to be better than the GingerDead Man.
It truly couldn't be worse. The question of the episode is, let us know what you think of The Boy if you get a chance to watch it. And then also, if you wanted to, you could send us your guesses for what you think we'll be playing and reviewing next season. One other thing is that starting for season 2's first episode, so not next week, but the week after, you are going to notice that the podcast art has changed. We reached out to artist Joshua Fraioli, who is on Instagram if you want to check his work out, and he did custom work for our next season. It's really, really awesome. It truly fits the season, and it's cool. I'm excited for you guys to see it.
I'll be 100% honest. Like, I made myself a mug with the picture.
Yeah, you did.
Oh my god, I'm excited to get this mug. I'll put it up. I'll put a picture up on the Instagram when it gets here.
Yeah, it's very cool, and we're excited for you guys to see that. But with that, Justin, want to run through the plugs with me?
I mean, I guess I'm still kind of angry that nobody reviewed the GingerDead Man with us.
Yeah, I think that's part of the cruel joke. But yeah, if you want to send us an email, lovely audience, you can get to us at the Here's Johnny Podcast at gmail.com.
You can find me on Twitter at PickleThing and the show at Here's Johnny Cast.
You can find me on Twitter at BeaverLA. As always, the Discord link is in the show notes. And if you wanted to find us on Facebook, you can always just search for Here's Johnny Podcast and we'll pop right up.
Yeah, and the website will also be in the show notes. And on YouTube, you can just search for Here's Johnny Podcast. It should come up. hopefully sometime next week, there will be a little extra surprise in there for you too, not just the show.
Absolutely. Don't forget that on the website, that's where you'll, starting on Monday, I will have all of our review scores uploaded to the website, and the blog poster will be there as well. And again, starting, well, for you guys, this coming week on Thursdays, Justin will have his own blog post as well. So you'll have 2 blog posts a week. If you're able to, go over to Instagram and follow us there. We post pictures, a little bit behind the scenes stuff, what games we're playing, what movies we're watching, what to expect from the episode that week. You can kind of get a little bit of peek behind the curtains on Instagram.
Yeah, and again, if you can, just head over to Patreon, and it's Here's Johnny Podcast over there, and we have a $3 tier now that allows you to see the videos we will be putting out on YouTube of this special surprise. You'll be able to see those a couple days early. You'll get the show early. You can pick a movie, a game. There's a bunch of tiers on there, a bunch of goals, a bit like paying for the, like having the show all paid for, which would be fantastic. That's really my goal, is to have the show paid for.
Yeah, me as well. And we want to take this time also to thank both our patrons, Seagram and Lycan of Light. Your support means the world to us, and we hope that we continue to put out content that you find worthy of your donations.
Yeah, and again, like Seagram and Lycan of Light, like you guys help make this show happen now, and I couldn't be more thankful.
Yeah, 100%. But Justin, season 1's done. And listeners, if you're making cookies and you cut yourself, try not to bleed into the batter, because you don't know what might crawl out of your oven.